Howdy, howdy. Let's get fucking rowdy.
Yeah, that should do it. All right, cool. Well, welcome back to the Almost Aussie podcast. We're back again for a episode 18. To start off, there's actually a thing that I've been kind of deep diving into a little bit. There's like this trend going on right now with like the cancel culture shit, where it's not just like modern celebrities that get cancelled because of something they said or did a long time ago. It's also like, politicians, or in America, you got like the founding fathers that are getting like shed upon because like the slavery trade and statues like wanting to be removed.
The Confederate statues.
Well, but that like ended up branching out into like George Washington and all those other ones at some point. Yeah. And I was listening to fucking Quentin Tarantino was in Joe Rogan's podcast.
Wow.
Which was, that was incredible.
That would have been whack.
He's a really fucking wacky dude.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and he was talking, so the big controversy, have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Mm-mm.
So in that movie, he's got this scene where this stuntman is fighting Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee was being a dick. And the stuntman throws Bruce Lee against the car and like fucks him up. And that was super controversial among the fans. But when Quentin Tarantino hopped onto Joe Rogan's podcast, he was saying like, I'm not going to take anything away from Bruce. Like, he was incredible. But amongst stunt people, he was known as a dick and he disrespected stunt people. Because what he would do in stunts, he would like, it's called tagging, when you actually like hit someone lightly. So in like the Chinese movie industry, like they do that to sell the shot. But in America, they're more professional, where you fake it so no one gets injured and you can work. Yeah. So he didn't do that. He was like, no, you're not professional. Like, I'm just going to fucking do my thing and sell the shot, right? So it's this kind of thing where like, how do you draw the line between the ideologies and all the things that they contribute, these like famous people, and the persona and some of the downfalls of their personality? Like, do you think about like how to separate the artist from the art? Do you have any like thoughts on that?
I think the artist's personality is what makes the art so good, no matter like it.
That's true.
You can't. It's like trying to take the yang out of yin. Like
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the reason that they're so good at what they do is because they're
that's who they are, kind of thing.
Yeah, they're what is the word I'm looking for? Abnormalities. They're exceptions. They're like they're the glitch in the matrix of society. You know, they're not normal. Yeah. And if they, I don't know one person at that level who doesn't demonstrate some dicky tendencies. I don't think that Keanu Reeves. Yeah,
I think
Keanu Reeves,
he's like the only exception of
only
being
person that comes to my head.
An incredible human being, but like also Keanu Reeves. I don't know. Have you heard much about his like his backstory?
His wife and kid, eh?
Yeah, died. That's so wild.
Yeah,
and he just came out as a really like switched on, humble dude. Yeah,
timid.
Oh man.
No, it's someone. That's an example of somebody like not being shaped by circumstance, and he's an exception among the elite, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. There are the like single exceptions that actually like rise. Fuck. So should we really like hold our celebrities to a higher standard just because there are better examples out there?
No, I think like what Hollywood did is take celebrity status and turn it into like a role model type thing. But that is not what it, like celebrities are celebrated because they're great at what they do. It's kind of in the word celebrity, actually, celebrating them.
Yeah.
Celebrated people who are great at what they do, who show that they're the number one, or at least they're competing for that top position.
But then there's the argument, especially with athletes, because they are just simply by being great, they are a role model for younger generations, right? So when they like get caught fucking hookers and like cheating on their wives and shit and doing drugs, they're shunned upon because they're not that role model. But it's so wild because, they're just there to do what they do best, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they want to be a role model or not, but I guess.
Well, the thing is, I've heard a lot of people up there say it in interviews and things like that. Like, I'm not here to be a role model. Shit, my favorite would be Eminem. You know, like, he's like, when they're turning around and saying, like, he's the reason for Columbine and stuff like that. Like, him and they blamed him and they blamed Marilyn Manson. He sung about it in a song.
Okay, yeah.
I think they might have actually pointed the finger at him at one point too.
Probably, like,
because the violence in his songs and everything.
So recently, Eminem has been under fire by the, like, woke generation.
What, they've only just caught on?
And okay, and the song that they caught on to,
Kim.
No.
Bagpipes from Baghdad.
I mean, you can just look it up. So it was actually from Love the Way You Lie with Rihanna.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty heavy one.
Yeah, but have they not heard any other song?
And it's like from the same album, you have like Spacebound, which is even worse because he ends up like burning the fucking house down with the chick inside, you know?
No, that was Love the Way You Lie.
What is that?
Yeah. I think that was the whole thing where it's like he promotes like domestic violence and shit like that and abuse.
No, he snaps her neck like a popsicle stick in Spacebound. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll snap your neck like a popsicle stick. There's not a possible reason I could think of to let you walk up out this house and let you live. It's like, and then he blows his own brains out, kills himself.
Fuck.
Like that's on. You know, it's the same fucking album. It's all off of Recovery. No, it's the one after Marshall Mathers LP 2. No, Spacebound. Yeah, Spacebound
is Recovery.
Yeah, Recovery. Wasn't Love the Way You Lie on there too?
Possibly, very possibly. Yeah. Those were like, Recovery was like one of those albums that didn't really hit, but I thought it was like a really good.
Dude, they're gonna find that
really good songs.
Recovery, Recovery.
Yeah,
I think Relapse is like before its time too, like fucked up. But
So good. No, I mean like hidden popularity. Like quite a lot of people were actually like frowning upon his Recovery and all that shit.
I liked it. It was very empowering.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs are very empowering.
Yeah, like I'm Not Afraid and all that. That was like that was like
going through changes.
That like I'm Not Afraid is kind of like Our Days, Eye of the Tiger, like rising up and kind of like overcoming.
I reckon that song's on par with Macklemore's Macklemore's stuff when it comes to like beating addiction and things like that.
Yeah, and
very
empowering, empowering people. Yeah, absolutely. Have you been like following a little bit of what happened to Johnny Depp and his like lawsuits and shit like that?
Yeah, I heard that
domestic violence.
He's won and he's suing back, I believe.
He's suing back. Yeah, no, so he lost one in the UK court.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, apparently, the in the court case, all the evidence that Eminem was his lawyer. All the evidence that Johnny Depp and his lawyers. Imagine that Eminem and Johnny Depp just have like a lawyer movie or some shit. Some shit like that. No, but apparently a lot of his evidence was dismissed as illegitimate, but all the cherry-picked shit that Amber Heard was showing was like accepted. And I read like a little timeline on all of their like stuff. And at one point they were like exchanging these like publishings, like one of them would say this stuff on a interview and the other one this stuff. And then Johnny Depp's one is like, one day she snuck into my room and defecated on my bed and punched me in the face.
What?
Bro, I cracked up laughing so hard. Like she showed me his bed and punched me. But she's hot though. That really works for her. You reckon Amber Heard?
I would not like her to shit on my bed.
No. That's not a justification. I'm just saying.
Listen to that back later and see what it just sounded like, man.
But she's hot though.
Oh, she's hot, but I couldn't agree with the way that you just said that. You're like,
no.
You're like, come on, man. But she's hot. It's like, hey.
It's justified. No. And then like, apparently, she actually cheated on Johnny Depp with Elon Musk and another dude.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And, you know, Johnny Depp's like, he was with a girl for like 12 years and she came out and says like he was never violent, like he was all cool. But like none of Amber Heard's like people came out or anything. And yet
like, we can't call a bitch crazy.
Yeah. yeah. No comment. But then, yeah. So now that Aquaman 2 is coming out,
she's lost her role, hasn't she?
No. So Reddit has re-sparked the whole free Johnny Depp thing.
Yeah.
And they want Amber Heard to come off the production.
Yeah, okay.
Because Johnny Depp because of the UK court case, they had to they had to let him go from the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've seen this going around. I thought it might have happened. But
yeah. So yeah, that happened to Johnny Depp, but Amber Heard is.
I thought that she got because I'd seen it going around, but I thought it registered as it was already happening, not something they were asking.
That's why I'm so intrigued, because usually cancel culture wins. All these production companies just get overpowered and they're like, fuck it, we have to let this person go because people are shitting on us on social media.
Yeah, the boycott the movie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But, I mean, boycott Amber Heard has been going from 2019 and then it kind of died out and now it's back again.
Yeah, but
and she's still in the movie. Exactly. But that's so wild. In some cases, apparently, cancel culture doesn't apply.
Well, to a gender.
No. There's what's her name? There was in Deadpool, one of the chicks that's on acting as a bad character, and she's superpowers and everything. She's an ex-UFC fighter, and she was tweeting. She basically tweeted when the quarantine was coming down. She's like, "This quarantine is just like the Nazi concentration camps." So she was comparing that to the Jewish Holocaust. And because of that, they had to let her go from the studio.
That's different, though. I think that's a bit different.
Than domestic violence?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Especially because it was about the pandemic, and it's that's a very controversial topic on the internet as it is. So.
The Holocaust.
Well, the Holocaust is, it's a very...
in and of itself.
Yeah, that's...
But... No, but it has happened. I don't know. I don't think it was that bad. It's just she probably tried to sound smart and she fucked it up. And it's something that if she wasn't famous, it would have been no one gives a fuck. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, but like it is with all these conspiracy theorists. Everyone's like,
yeah,
fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so she's still in the mood. But the thing is, Johnny Depp literally got asked to leave from the Grindelwald character, but in his contract is I think it's a pay for play clause, which means that if he loses his position as a character, he still gets the full payout of the movie.
Yeah, sick.
So he cashed in without having to do the work.
Perfect.
Which is quite nice.
It's like when I got kicked off of the Kokoda challenge after Papua New Guinea, and when we went to we went to Papua New Guinea for free with the youth program that we were with, and when we got back, we were meant to do 4 months of community service or 6 months of community service.
What did you do over there?
No, we were meant to do it because it was the free trip.
Oh, because it was free.
It was it was our way of paying our way.
We committed war crimes.
But yeah, good question. What did I do over there? Enough for them to kick me out of the program when I got home. We could definitely go into the story over a podcast one day. One day. The Papua New Guinea story is a great one to go over in a podcast. It'd be great to have it down too. But yeah, they ended up kicking me off the program when I got home. I'm like, I just got paid and got away with not having to do the work afterwards. Literally the same thing. Yeah, I ended up getting away, and it's like, oh no, you're punishing me by taking away my right to do community service?
Man, that's sad.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, well, I guess the only downside to Johnny Depp's case is the reputation. Even though he's internet's favorite.
And I'm sure he would have loved to do that movie too.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
He loves acting, and he wouldn't do a role if he didn't think it'd be enjoyable. Got hyped for it. I think it's sad that he doesn't get to. Yeah.
And it's so weird that Johnny Depp's past few movies have been him being this dark, sinister, seemingly evil, controversial character. In Grindelwald, he was the wizard that was controversial and evil. And then before that, he did this train to something. It's a murder mystery on the train. And he was this character that was also pretty much the same, Grindelwald type. and he didn't really have much speaking roles. And then before that, he was playing that mafia boss. Have you seen that one? It was like New York mobster kind of days. And yeah, he really took a different turn from being like a crazy weird character to like this dark evil.
No, he's going through some dark times.
Yeah, maybe
sounds
you can
like
relate
it.
to it. Yeah. I mean, he plays it really well, that's for sure. Fuck.
Well, the best artists draw inspiration and like motion from their feelings.
Their lives. Yeah, that's wild. Like Heath Ledger, for example, for The Dark Knight.
That's different. He went into that. Like, he didn't just...
He didn't draw from it. He literally...
created it.
Yeah.
And then ended up going down because of it. Like, he drove himself insane by trying to be something that he wasn't.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's very sad. That was tragic.
I wonder if that's like a sign of... I don't know. Is that a sign of like not being a good enough actor to just like create this role in your mind and you have to literally do it? Or being such a good actor that you literally dedicate yourself? Because, you know,
there's a bit of both, yeah.
Because there's been cases where like Tom Cruise would disguise himself as like a pizza delivery guy or something for one of his roles or some shit like that just to get to know what it's like in the real world to be that character.
But Leo didn't have to actually do all that coke to nail Jordan Belfort and Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, like, but probably because he did a lot of coke, I'm guessing.
Leo?
Yeah.
You reckon? I don't know.
Dude, he was a child. He was a child star. Like his career started in plays, like theatrical plays.
Okay. Don't know much about his background.
Yeah, no. He's one of his actually earliest movies. He was playing this like retarded kid, and his older brother, like in that movie, his older brother was Johnny Depp.
It makes me think of Simple Jack.
No, like actually actually disabled, not like. But like his older brother in that movie was Johnny Depp.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were like playing like way, way, way back then. And I'd imagine like being such a, obviously, and then like going from that into, what's that Shakespeare play? Romeo and Juliet. And they redid that like modern one with like guns and cars and shit like that. And he really fucking took off after that.
Yeah.
And then he got Titanic. And dude, don't you think that he would just like partying his fucking ass off and doing coke and in Hollywood as like a young child actor?
Maybe he was young, but I don't think he would have like needed it to get into the Wolf of Wall Street character.
Exactly, because I think he's been through it. Like he's had the fame, he's had the partying and all that shit.
And I guess no one really goes through what the Joker had to go through, so there was no way to kind of get into that through reflection. Like,
yeah,
you can't. Well, what about the guy that took the role when Heath Ledger passed? Because I don't.
What, the Joker movie?
No, in The Dark Knight.
Oh, there was a different Joker afterwards?
He died during. No. He died during The Dark Knight, and someone. Yeah. It was in like I think the last like 30 minutes of the movie. Apparently, there's a switch over, but I didn't notice it, and I tried to look for it, and I've tried to like. Because I've been aware of it, that I've tried to look for it, but I actually don't notice the transition in style or anything like that.
But I suppose, like, because Dark Knight was, what, like 2.5 hours? 2-hour movie? In the last 30 minutes, a few selected scenes with Joker.
Oh, this is when he was, like, driving the fucking truck crazy and everything. And
Yeah, but if there's, like, I think it really shines through in speaking roles. And actual acting roles. Like being crazy on camera is like one thing.
Oh, plus I bet it'd be easier for the guy that took over
to reference
of like how to be, because Heath Ledger had created the character already.
I wonder if like Joaquin Phoenix from the new Joker went through any of that. You still haven't seen that movie, have you?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
It's incredible. And his Joker is like, I think, on par to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is that the whole movie is the Joker, not just like scenes.
Yeah.
So
that'd
it's
be cool.
It's such a wild trip. But you know, Joaquin Phoenix has always been really, really strange like personality. I watched some of his interviews and he would just like fuck with TV hosts. Like he would get on the I think it's like not Colbert, but those late night talk show host kind of like shows. Yeah, and he would just like sit in his sunglasses and he would just like ignore questions. Like,
no. What?
And he would just like fuck with people. And it's like, so where do you think your career is heading? I think I'm going to be a musician. It would just fuck with them. And yeah, so he probably like nailed that kind of thing. Oh, fuck. So insane.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I reckon that Heath Ledger thing was just unlucky. Just bad luck.
Was it? No, he didn't kill himself. It was an OD, was it?
Well, yeah, no one knows when it comes to that.
Yeah. Because OD is technically killing yourself.
Well, it can. Yeah, some people like commit suicide by overdose. Some people accidentally overdose, and it looks like suicide.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like the whole Chester Bennington, lead singer from Linkin Park, was found dead in his place from like an overdose. So it's like, was he just doing drugs, or did he actually like kill himself?
Yeah. Oh fuck, man! I saw this really interesting post about Kurt Cobain. Apparently, the lead detective from the investigation came out with the shotgun that was found at the scene that was like apparently killed him. It's too long, bro. His arms would have had to be like.
But surely, yeah, I guess like angle. But I'd imagine like if you just have a shotgun between your legs and just like push down,
it would like his arms wouldn't have been able to reach that.
It's a shotgun, man.
It looked more like a fucking rifle. I don't know, like it was not like a sniper rifle, but like yeah. People took the measurements and worked out how long his arms would have had to be able to pull the trigger, even like.
Yeah, that's wild. Because like it's his girlfriend. It wasn't Whitney Houston, was it? At the time, so some really famous chick, and she was actually blamed for his suicide because they had like a fallout, and allegedly she hired a hitman to kill him. Yeah, so that's wild.
I reckon one of the strangest celebrity deaths would have to be. No.
Strangest in terms of like unexplained.
Yeah, most surprising, shocking, like strangest circumstance.
I don't know that much about celebrity deaths, to be honest. I mean, besides like McAfee, that was like the wildest one.
I mean, Mac Miller was fucking tragic.
Well, that was a suicide, right?
Well, that was an overdose. Yeah, Jesus. And the chick that apparently supplied him the drugs actually ended up in court because it was fentanyl lace. Apparently.
Oh.
Yes.
But that was like a big problem in America, the fentanyl stuff.
Fentanyl-laced drugs, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that don't know, like fentanyl is lethal at a very, very small amount.
Yeah, I think you need like less than a fingernail-sized dose.
Yeah. And there was cases where medical staff were called, like emergency ambulance drivers and policemen were called to a scene where a person was like dead or ODing, and with them just touching their skin and their like sweat and stuff, there's been cases where like I think Radiolab covered it, and where the cops would hop back into the car, and then one of the partners were like, oh fuck, I don't feel so good, like I'm starting to pass out, and they had to like get him an adrenaline shot and kind of like revive him and get him back to normal. Like that's how fucked up fentanyl is.
Yeah. I remember there's a show called Bad Blood on Netflix about like have you seen that one?
I've heard about it. I don't know what it's about.
Really good. It's based in Canada, in Montreal, where it was like I think it was in the 90s or something. It's like a massive rush of drugs. It's based on a time where like the mafia boss, instead of like, you know, shooting up competition and everything like that and it being violent, like he's like, let's all just work together and make fuckloads of money peacefully. And that's kind of like the premise of the show. This like really good part that was happening, and then everything falls apart and gets violent again. And then these Mexicans come in as competition. I think they're Mexicans, maybe Cuban, and set up there. And they start bringing in this new cocaine. It's they're lacing it with fentanyl. And I'd imagine it's based on like there'd be somewhat of a true story here. Because they're like instructing all their people like how much to cut it with and everything. And then there comes to one episode where they're like, just like cut a little bit more and everything, and then there's just like floods of fucking overdoses.
Holy shit. Yeah, well, I guess, that's probably part of it.
Yeah, tiny little bit of this stuff can just...
It's so wild how much like illegal drug trade build a society and how much it destroys it at the same time. One
of the most interesting things I heard was on Ozarks in, I think it was like the second or third series, and I looked it up, and it was there's a pretty solid case for it. In the 2008 financial crisis, apparently, big drug trade, like cartels and stuff like that, were the only people left with liquid cash in America, because everyone had just like, they'd fucking defaulted on all the home loans that were given out to subprime lenders and all this fucking crazy shit. And then, basically...
So how did they like influence it? Just by transaction?
The banks borrowed cash.
Oh, fuck.
Well, they needed to get... The like speculation goes they needed to get it from somewhere. And they couldn't just print it at this time. Like it would fuck up the economy even more. They needed to get cash that was already there, just cold hard cash to give out to people who had like savings in their bank account because the banks had lost it all.
But does that go back to like the whole American made, like the whole drug smuggling thing and their connections? Do you think like the government would have been involved with all of that?
I'd certainly.
Yeah, I guess when you're a big bank, you pretty much own the government.
I mean, the CIA were massive in the coke trade, and like, 70s, 80s, 90s, like, God, they're probably still up there now, to be honest. They wouldn't, personally, if I was a law enforcement agency, I'd want to have some sort of oversight over that. It's like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer type thing, and make sure that your enemies are
into the honeypot.
Yeah, make sure your enemies are paying tax, and that you up that tax, motherfucker. I don't see. It's unethical,
of course,
but it's like, it'd be stupid to say it's not economically beneficial.
It goes back to like Stalin's whole thing. It's like one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is statistics. Like, at that point, if they just make money by selling drugs, it's going to benefit more people than it like hurts. I guess.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
It's pretty crazy, man. I ponder on it quite a bit about how much the illegal drug trade has helped build society and hold it up from the brink of collapse, and even give people hope in times when there is none. Yeah. Like, it's probably because it's illegal that it's so good like that.
Yeah. And like, especially in the poorer communities, drug dealing is literally their only way of staying alive.
Right. There's no jobs, nothing like that.
It's so fucking wild. And it's interesting that like the war on drugs is the only war that the US has been losing for eternity. Like, there's just no winning the war on drugs.
Oh, they could nuke it if they wanted to. They're just playing with their food and eating it at the same time.
What do you mean? What do you mean they could nuke it?
They couldn't literally nuke it, but they could go in. They could just send the army in and fucking... They could triangulate every cell phone, pull up every CI that they have.
They could, just like a massive exodus.
Oh, if they wanted to. I have no doubt that they could. Take it from the top down. Guaranteed. It'd take like 6 to 12 months to get things back up and running, and even then, this has probably taken the better part of the last half of the century to build up to the way that they have it now. I don't know, maybe even longer. Fuck, in the Peaky Blinders, they're like selling coke in the early 1900s. I think the Peaky Blinders is in like 19.
Is it based in New York or England? England. Yeah. So 1900s probably.
Yeah. So that that was back then. They had their
fucking England was responsible for the Hong Kong cocaine epidemic.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I'm pretty sure like England kept the trading routes, and I'm pretty sure that's how England got Hong Kong in the first place, by supplying them with opioids and getting them hooked.
Okay.
And then getting in control of Hong Kong and taking it from China.
Huh. Wow.
That's so wild. We've used drugs for the longest Longest period of time. There was this one guy on the Joe Rogan podcast. He wrote a book on like intoxication, on how human beings have basically consumed alcohol for longer than even agriculture allows. So there's this place called Göbekli Tepe in
heard of that.
Yeah, it's the oldest known man-made temple. So older than like the Egyptian pyramids. It's dated 20,000 years back, but it still hasn't been fully uncovered. Like it's the weird thing about it is that like it was built in layers, like on like a hill, but the soil was actually younger than the foundation soil that was standing on, which pretty much hints towards that there's a society that literally covered it up in dirt so it doesn't get destroyed. And it's a massive like altar like site. And they found heaps of like animal bones, and that's why they thought it was like a religious place, because they would do sacrifice, they would do feasts. That's like the gathering area to kind of go wild. Huh. And in that book, he speculated that because they found all of these like barley plants, not hops, but like, I don't know, barley is like a grain, right?
Right.
So they used that, they found it in pots, so they used it to create alcohol. So Göbekli Tepe, through like linear history.
Actually, the world's first distillery.
Yeah, possibly. But for like, because we've imagined that society and agriculture came along like way later than it did. Like maybe, I don't know, with the Egyptians, maybe like 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, right? When settlements first started to form. But he's putting forth the idea that because they found all of these things that you would actually make alcohol out of, before human beings become actual settlers and lived in like a social structure, they had these worshipping grounds where they would make these alcohol distillery kind of things, and just got fucked up.
First brewery,
yeah, they were hunter-gatherers. They came to one place, got fucked up together.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So like his idea is that like all of this basically stems from history. And in that book, he pretty much says that like human beings function the best while having some kind of substance in them, because you know the flow state, when you're like in the zone.
Yeah. Even if it's water.
Even if it's water. Yeah, just water. So, you know, the whole like flow state kind of thing where like if you're doing something and like really into it and you just kind of
get into the flow.
Yeah. You're like wired. So that flow state has been known to be easier accessed if you are under mild intoxication, because it disconnects your default mode network in your brain, and you can just kind of like not associate anything with anything, so you can just kind of like tap into abstract concepts. Yeah. So basically, his idea was that when we see in like olden day movies, in like Viking days, they drink like giant ales of beer and get like fucked up and stuff. Steiner glass. Yeah, those big ass fucking wooden things, and they're just like get fucking wasted. Well,
I'm gonna get one of those for my birthday. Or the day after
Caffeine
July.
Kings. Make like a custom Caffeine Kings Steiner glass.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's just a giant skull like this.
Out of diamond.
Okay. Anyway, so his idea was that like back then alcohol was piss weak. Like it was super weak. So that's why they drank so much of it. And they wouldn't get as intoxicated as you see in movies. They would get like intoxicated, but nowhere near what we can do with fucking like 2 or 3 cans of beer these days. So they would drink a shitload compared to this.
Right.
The only difference that now is we fucking abuse it.
Yeah.
We just keep going because it's so easy, and we have this high percentage alcohol.
It's like with weed as well, and just like, about anything. It's like you have your coca leaves and cocaine, your opium poppy and your heroin, your old beer from back then that's like 0.1% strength, basically alcohol free, and then there's these 1.6 standard drinks, which is like what, like 7%. 70 times stronger than what it might have been back then. It's like shit, even back in the 60s, weed wasn't even touching like 8% THC. Now you're pushing 30s in some strains, some grows, like, and then we're doing extracts.
Where will it end though? Like, what's the...
Well, they have THCA crystalline now, which is like 99.9% pure crystal THC that they extract through, I think it's like some sort of CO2 extraction. Like,
like
fucking crazy,
meth lab level kind of science. Like pressure cooking and shit like that.
Yeah. Oh, they did that just for dabs, like. Yeah.
But fuck, well, I know people smoke it, but like, do you really get more enjoyment out of it than like just smoking a joint?
Well, people who get too used to really strong weed and don't get high anymore off of it go to dabs because they're like 70 to 90+% pure THC. So then dabs are their normal, and then they hit that,
and then after that they're
fucked. Like they tried to keep just smoking more to get high, and then they're just like smoking all day to try and get high. And you should have had a tolerance break years ago, man. Like,
but then there are people that just smoke joints all their life and they're sweet.
Yeah. They're not chasing the dragon like some of these fucking Americans and Canadians. Like, shit, they take it too far always.
It's funny because like we talk about like them taking it too far and smoking those, but whenever we see like an American movie when they smoke bongs, it's always like they pack a cone, they light it, take a drag, and then pass it along.
Yeah, but they'll sit there and hammer down like a half-gram dab though. They're like, are you Australians pull a whole bong and then just like drop a fucking half-gram snake into their dabber and just milk it till they're passed out?
That's so...
I don't know, man.
That is so wild. Yeah, but intoxication is in that culture.
Yeah, well, every culture, I think. It's in the human genetics. It's always been a part of society.
I don't think we're getting better at it. We're just getting better at getting more fucked up.
Yeah. And handling it better in day-to-day life afterwards.
But I think
we're graduating to a point where we can just get like absolutely totaled and then still go to work the next day. It's called balance.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like people just pushing themselves to new limits.
Yeah.
New heights. They're breaking out of the matrix.
Yeah, and then that's a new baseline when the DNA is passed forth to offspring. And then the offspring just take it to the next level.
That is true. That is very true. Because, like obesity and stuff, if both your parents were overweight, you're more likely as a child to be overweight because you're more susceptible to like gain weight.
Lots of things in genetics.
Yeah. But it's weird because like in alcohol, usually it's not... Like, if your parents drink a lot, you're not like, okay. So my theory was that if your parents drink a lot, it doesn't mean that you're more resistant to the effect of alcohol. Usually it means that you're more prone to become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But doesn't that mean because you're more resistant to alcohol, you drink more, therefore you're looked upon as an alcoholic?
Could look at it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting thing I read about even like mental health, like ADHD and stuff. I didn't read the full article, so I can't really comment on it. I just saw there was a scholarly research article posted on I can't remember the fucking... I was just doing research and it was a recommended article, and it was something about like intergenerational progression of these certain mental illnesses, and ADHD was one of the focus ones, and like. When I was looking at the synopsis that was kind of like just overviewed I think that's the synopsis. Oh, fuck,
the conclusion? Yeah,
no, it was the abstract. So I was reading the abstract, and from what I could gather, they're like looking into how like attention deficit disorders, and like it starts as like a bad thing, but over generations. It's it gets better and ends up like, rather than being a hindrance, a benefit, and like a potential
like strength kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, I've listened to one like doctor. I don't really remember that well, but he was talking about like the ADHD. is a label for a multitude of different symptoms that a patient would exhibit, because there's no, like, you can't take a blood test for ADHD or anything. It's just literally like observing behavior.
Yeah, there's like a cognitive test.
Yeah. But I mean, that makes me think, like, how real is it?
No, it isn't. I'm pretty sure the person that defined ADHD said it on his deathbed that it's not. Like, look, I'm not even fucking kidding right now.
That is not real.
Yeah.
Was it like a money scheme? Like money?
This is definitely worth a Google. Like,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like a very well-rounded way of saying, like, my theory was wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't take that on board
at
all.
No, but we ate it up when he was like, ha. You have this and you take these drugs. And Big Pharma was like, yeah.
Exactly.
Do it.
That's one of the things that I've heard, like, that ADHD was a way to sell a certain type of drug by, like, clumping all these symptoms together and labeling it as one, so you can dedicate one drug to this one disease.
Yeah,
100%.
That's wild. Yeah, even then, like, they kind of took that model when it came to opioid-based painkillers as well. Like, they were just like, oh, that worked for something that can't even be, like, tested for. Let's see what they'll do if we can fix their pain. Take this thing that's going to hook you forever. It will fix your pain.
Well, that's like, how heroin got started.
So opioid. Well, that is an opioid.
Yeah, but like the guy who created the chemical compound of heroin, actually, what's heroin made out of? It's is it poppy?
It's the opium poppy. Well, it's
poppy. So
very concentrated.
They were using that as painkiller, and he was like, I want to, and people were getting addicted to it. So he's like, I want to create a version of this painkiller that people can use to get over their addiction of opioids. So he created heroin. And then when he was doing it, he felt like a hero. That's where the name comes from, heroin.
Right.
And then he was like, it became like accepted in the medical society, and I was prescribing it, not knowing that it's actually more addictive and worse than when they were just prescribing opium to patients.
Right.
And that's how heroin got started, and then it became an illicit substance.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess same thing with amphetamine.
Yeah.
Amphetamine sulfate. Like, they used to sell it to housewives and be like, hey, this will help you cook, clean, pick the kids up from school, look after your husband, and lose weight at the same time. It's just like the housewife's miracle medicine.
Is it Requiem for a Dream? Requiem for a Dream? Have you seen that movie?
Is that the DMT?
No. That's it's different. Requiem for a Dream was like when the guy and the girl were addicted to fucking injecting heroin while he was like stealing the TV from his mom and selling it for drugs because he wanted to like make it big.
Yeah.
But his mom at the same time had her own storyline where she was taking these weight loss pills, which are like the amphetamines, and then she was starting to go crazy. And at the end of the movie, he was like, he got hospitalized because he's like breaking down with all these infections from his like injection marks. And his mom was breaking down in hospital from like taking so much fucking amphetamines because she wanted to be on a TV show. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That was
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst ending, like saddest endings.
Yeah.
Other than what is that? The one in Japan.
Yeah.
It's like,
a spirit DMT, the spirit molecule?
No, that's a
Is that a documentary?
Yeah, that's Terrence McKenna.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
I know exactly. Like the whole movie is like the premise of like did he live that movie, or was that him floating in like observing his past? Because he got like shot in the toilet trying to like flush down drugs.
Yeah,
that was a wild movie.
Yeah,
that was so many. You know, that soft drink originally had drugs in them. Like each different soft drinks that were back then. Obviously, Coke had cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Fanta had its own kind of like drug derivative
fantasy.
Fantasy.
Some GHB for the morning.
And Sprite. Yeah, so all of these used to be in people would go to like soft drink parlors.
That's
bars.
fucked.
Yeah, to have soft drinks. And then eventually, like some would like calm you down because they had like NyQuil type of like drugs in them. And because it's like soft drugs, it's a soft drink, you know? And eventually they like caught on that it's like bad for you, and they removed the drugs aspect out of it, but the soft drinks remain.
It's
the
just up to the sugar.
Yeah. They just replaced the drug to a more thing.
Is that a real story?
So
Holy
soft drinks
shit.
originated from
That's
actual
so
like
up.
from actual drugs. But you know, it
used to be normal back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Used to be normal back
they just
then.
saw it as like, oh, this makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. I'm just gonna keep doing that. But yeah, fuck, man, that was fucking. Wow. Imagine just living back in the 50s and the 60s. You'd be just high out of your mind anywhere you go.
Yeah. That would just be a different time.
Oh.
Couldn't imagine that.
No.
I think the future society that we're going into has to model off of that. Like, it has to become everything has to become regulated and like easy access to high quality, clean, like proper narcotics, so that people aren't doing bad shit.
Overdosing,
fucked up, overdosing, cut shit like your fentanyl coke, for example.
My biggest pet peeve is like the synthetic LSD and normal LSD.
Yeah,
like they definitely need to get on top of that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think it's strange because when Quentin Tarantino, so we're going back full circle to the beginning, when he was talking about like when Joe Rogan asked him about whether he gets any kind of drawback. What's it called when people backlash? Sorry, gets any type of backlash from like the crazy violence and this topic that he's exploring. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I do not give a fuck. That's what I do. That's my movies. That's what it's there for. It's there to create that feeling. And then he was talking about how in the 70s it was a wild time, and then the 80s became politically correct, where people would censor themselves. Oh no, the government would kind of like try to censor what kind of things got put out in the media. And then through the 80s, he kind of like started to get into movies, and he was like, fuck, I want to see something more like what the 70s had, where they were like wild, crazy endings and all these like politically incorrect topics. So he started creating those movies, and other people in his kind of like group of filmmakers started doing the same thing, which brought them into the 90s. And the 90s started to push the envelope with fucking Fight Club, The Matrix, Pulp Fiction, fucking all of these wild movies. And that was, in the 90s were like the wild movie times, like drawn from the 70s to overcome the 80s. And he's like, dude, 2010, like this era, this is like the 80s part 2. This is just us censoring ourselves, and with the social media, which we have to start like we have to keep speaking through it and not get bogged down.
Just a phase.
Yeah. And so that we can pretty much surpass it, and the 2030s will be like this crazy time again where everything is like wild and crazy. So that gave me hope, man, because he makes a good point. Like, movies form society. They're in the zeitgeist of how culture is shaped.
I like that.
So, and especially seeing with these like podcasts and comedians just talking shit, and there's all these wild theories running around. I think humanity is doing its part to kind of like overcome the craziness of like a generation that just has it too easy.
Yeah.
That just doesn't fucking have anything better to do than complain about other people's shit.
The biggest problem is not feeling like they're meant to be in their body.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a good point.
That's how little problems that they have to fucking make them up. Well, it's that classic
that is
thing.
Such a good point.
No, it's that classic saying of how what is it? It's hard times create strong men.
Strong men create easy times.
And then easy times create weak men.
Yeah. And weak men create hard times.
And we will very likely get censored by these weak people because we said weak men, not weak humans, because it's not inclusive of both genders.
All the women, like, they're weak women.
No weak woman. Yeah, well, they'll all look pretty weak when that transgender woman in the Olympics goes head to head with them. That's
this year, isn't it? Or next year?
I don't know when the Olympics is.
Isn't the Olympics going to be in Brisbane?
No, that's two Olympics from now. Yeah, I think this one is in China.
Japan? Oh, the Japan Olympics never
Japan,
happened
China.
because of the COVID shit.
Maybe it's Japan then?
No, so I don't know, because Beijing Olympics were actually quite...
That's already been. Yeah.
So I don't think Japan... I'm not sure, man. I don't really follow it, but that's wild that they... Yeah,
That's political correctness gone mad.
Yeah, because you're literally hurting women.
Yeah.
Like you're fucking them over. You're fucking over. Because that person, that Olympic weightlifter, that transition...
was a man for
a man
30 years.
And a fucking... Not Olympic grade, but a very, very high-ranking weightlifter.
Yeah, and then I bet he's like, I know how I'll qualify for the Olympics. After 3 failed qualifications, like, fuck it, I'm turning into a chick and trying again.
Yeah, that's so wild. That is so wild. Like,
I can't believe it.
Oh, that's so crazy that people just...
I can't even comment on it, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be rude.
Yeah. I mean, like, back to the thing where you said where, like, that times are so easy that the most difficult thing is for people to, like, be comfortable in their own body.
Yeah.
Like, there is that side of, like, yeah, if you're uncomfortable in your body, just fucking do your thing and change. But don't complain about it. Don't make this social crazy movement. It's...
And but it's like, how do you draw that line of like what they can? Because like I understand where like the community is coming from when they feel like discriminated against because they've been suppressed from saying these things for so long, and they feel like it has to be thrown back in the faces of the society that treated them like outcasts for so long.
They're basically like spreading their influence under the guise of sending a positive message for acceptance.
Yeah.
But within that, they're creating these like absurd rules and regulations and demands to meet their own like desires.
Yeah, it's like a religion being forced on you. Like if it's being forced on you, fuck. If I'm born into it, I'll accept it at first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when the priests and shit start to like really ram it down my throat, I'm gonna rebel against it, if anything. And like the Olympics, this Olympics thing is the perfect example of this ideology being rammed down the throats of the entire world. Yeah. Because now there is somebody who, not a couple of years ago, was legally a male competing in the female Olympics. And the craziest thing is that this political correctness stuff, it's like, imagine what the original feminists are going to feel about this. Now feminism's become redundant.
Well,
and
there's like...
Where's their outcry? The
feminists are actually fighting verbally, the transgendered females. Like, they're speaking out against that because obviously it's like anti-feminist. It's so
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
I always knew the left would eat itself, but I didn't expect it to be this entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I can't do anything but laugh and like try not to be rude anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Fuck, on like the final note, there's I was fucking what was I about to say? No, I lost it.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
Fuck, I wish I had like, have you seen Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah, I don't remember episodes though.
No, but he had that thing where he started like, think, brain, think. And then
like, go through the roller coaster.
Yeah. Fuck, I wish I had that. I just had, yeah. So when you mentioned religion, this came to mind. So a couple of months back, this is like a modern, like a religious spy like storyline, right? There's this guy who got he was
post-Soviet era.
No, that was like a couple of months ago, right? So this guy, he was a Jewish rabbi at a church in Israel. Yeah, a Hebrew rabbi, in Israel. And the authorities, because the authorities there are like basically the Hebrew kind of like police force, right? The police force is literally like part of the religion kind of thing, because Israel is a very religious place.
Yeah.
And so they found out that this Jewish rabbi and his family were actually immigrants from America. And this Jewish rabbi was actually a Christian priest that changed his religion with his family to claim, because Israel has this like return to country clause. So like if you're Jewish and you can prove it, you can have free entry.
Yeah.
So he claimed that to go to Israel and live there as a Jewish rabbi.
Surely that's a sin.
And the way they got caught is because his kid got caught proselytizing, trying to convert Jewish kids to become Christian at school.
Oh.
Like, what the fuck?
Now that's a covert mission.
Bro. And there was like massive investigations and like charges and deportation.
Oh, yeah.
But like, this is like, I can imagine some like Hollywood spin-off of that story by like casting Tom Cruise as this Christian priest that has to disguise himself as a Jewish priest to infiltrate this like
Missionary Impossible. Yes. Missionary Impossible.
Yo, that's sick. That's cool. Missionary. Yeah, well, that was, I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think we'll leave it at that. That was a dope episode. Dope because, Anyway, man, thank you for joining us again. That was fucking
always
sweet.
Fun.
Yeah.
Always fun.